Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We're going to be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Mrs. Santiago.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me in a moment of silence for any special intentions as well as for our community as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Santiago. Roll call, Mr. McCoy.
Ms. Burton,
Here.
Dr. Henderson, Mr. Howard, Mr. Levenstein,
Here.
Miss Maida,
Here.
Miss Mineo,
Here.
Miss Santiago,
Here.
Mr. Stridiron,
Here.
Mr. Walker.
Here.
I have two items under my section, 2.1 and 2.2 as a consent agenda. Would anybody like to separate out these items? I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So moved.
So move. Second.
Questions or discussion? Mr. Stridiron.
Thank you, Madam President. I can't see the screen too well, but I believe it's on the canvas votes. Thank you. Were there any clarities reported to the district board clerk? And if so, how were they received and
You kind of broke up. I mean, I did have a couple of calls in the morning about the sign over at South. So we made sure the sign in the back of the room, the back of the building was up. We made sure they put signs in the front. Some of the voters forgot over 3 years ago, we moved the site in South to the back to the gym to get it out of the front hallway. So I talked to the principal at South and made sure that was put up. And that was the one. And then I was at NFA. And one of the poll workers was talking a little bit inappropriate, so I took care of it on the spot, and that person voted. But other than that, I went to every site yesterday, all 9 locations.
did the voting at South begin at 2 p.m. or at noon?
Absolutely not. Every polling location was open up at 12 noon. Every single one of them, all 9.
And were there instances where voters were told that it was not a school board election?
That I don't know. I wasn't in every site when people were talking, but every site opened at noon.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Mrs. Burton.
Hi, thank you so much. I do have a comment because I did receive a few phone calls in regards to signage. So is it possible at some point in time that the signage can be revisited, particularly at South Middle School, because there were folk who were up in front of the building, but then the signage was down the hill. And so I understand from 1 or 2 people that was a little challenging to, be able to recognize that. So I just think from my lens, from other folk, signage needs to be upgraded.
Thank you for your comment, and I will take that under advisement. We'll talk about that. Thank you. Anybody else have any other questions or comments? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Howard,
Yes.
Mr. Levenstein,
Yes.
Miss Maida,
Yes.
Miss Mineo,
Yes.
Miss Santiago,
Yes.
Mr. Stridiron,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Miss Burton.
Yes.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody who came out to vote. Congratulations to those board members who won. I'm looking forward to working with everybody, and I'm sure everybody on the board is also. We're going to move on to our Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, Mr. McLemore.
Thank you, Madam President. I have on the Human Resources agenda, I have items 3.1 and 3.2 for your consideration on this afternoon.
Would any member like to separate out any of these items? No? Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
So move.
Second.
Questions or discussion? Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Levinstein,
Yes.
Miss Maida,
Yes.
Miss Mineo,
Yes.
Miss Santiago,
Yes.
Mr. Stridiron,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Miss Burton,
Yes.
Mr. Howard.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. That concludes my items.
Thank you, Mr. McLemore. This is the fast part. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Miss Maida,
Yes.
Miss Mineo,
Yes.
Miss Santiago,
Yes.
Mr. Stridiron,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Miss Burton,
Yes.
Mr. Howard,
Yes.
and Mr. Levinstein.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the sunshine and